Hey, what's going on, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Kicker Rocks Podcast, 2 Drink Minimum. Hey, you know how we're always talking about movies and stuff like that? Well, we decided to change it up for this episode, and we're going to talk about sports movies. Favorite sports movies is what we're going with this episode. So sit back, relax, have a drink with us, and enjoy. All right, gentlemen, cheers.
Hey,
cheers.
One more. All right, this is Kick Rocks Podcast, 2 Drink Minimum. This episode, we're in a bit of a sports lull. I guess it's the beginning of February when we're recording this. So, Super Bowl has ended. Baseball's yet to start. There's no basketball or hockey playoffs. As far as America is concerned, not a lot of sports going on right now, I guess. So this is a perfect time for us to talk about our favorite, you guessed it, sports films. So that being said, I'm Bill.
Hey, I'm Tony.
I'm Joe. Sergio.
Vincent Vega.
Mr. Vince Vega.
Mrs. Marcellus Wallace. All right. Whatever her name was. What was her name? Mia Wallace.
Mia Wallace.
God
That's the
damn
guy.
it.
I thought you didn't know my name.
I do want to say, Bill, I hope you don't get us in any trouble because you mentioned the big game by name.
Oh, the Super Bowl?
Yeah.
The Super Bowl?
You can't say Super Bowl?
The Super Bowl?
Why can't you say Super Bowl?
He said
like that.
superb owl.
Super Bowl.
No, he's opening a new chain of restaurants.
Superbly?
And it's, do you want a soup or a bowl?
Or a bowl.
Super Bowl.
Super Bowl.
Hey,
you want a Super Bowl?
I hated
like
that.
it.
that's what they called Panera before they got taken down.
Hey, we're off to a great start.
Can we start over?
This is amazing. Before we continue, do we need this at all?
No.
Okay, cool. I'm just going to put that back down there.
Looked important.
It looked important.
important.
And I want to make sure we're recording
a really
because
big gun.
everyone needs to listen. Do we need this gun at all while we're doing the podcast? All right. We've digressed quite a bit already. It's going to be a good one, you can tell. Who's got their... Yeah, I guess we're going all time. Well, no specific category, no specific sports movies. In that term, you can use it. You can bend that a little bit of ways if you want to. You can use it kind of loosely, I guess. So... What's your favorite sports film? Who wants to get things rolling?
I'm going to knock this out quick before someone else picks it.
Go for
Sorry,
it.
anybody, but I got options.
No!
Don't just start reading off a list.
Just going to
just
go
pick
with...
one.
Can you let me
especially considering how
podcast, you
different the
ignorant
lists are,
wretch?
right?
You always just ramble.
Tony's
ever.
Tony's being completely original, and he Googled best sports movies of all time. He's just picking number one.
All right, so...
It's not his own opinion.
I picked number 37, and
what is it?
I know
Which
someone's going
list?
to pick this. I'm just going to pick Rocky. It's a fantastic movie. Stallone, man.
Yeah.
Still, probably the best thing. Yeah, definitely the best thing he's ever done. One of the best sports movies of all time. You know, it's The Underdog. Yeah, that's my pick.
No, classic underdog story. One of the best movies of all time. Let's be quite honest. It's
I'd
one
say
of those.
top 20 for sure, man.
Yeah, it's one of them when they tend to have there's Rocky marathons on a few times a year, it seems.
Yeah, but it's rarely the first one. It's like
It's right.
2 through 6.
Right. Well, and it's
They're sure
funny,
the ones
too,
you don't want to see.
when you look at all these lists like that you Googled and we're looking at, none of the sequels except for maybe Rocky IV occasionally appear on lists, and then of course Creed down the road. But
Yeah.
so it's kind of, but the one that you chose appears very high.
That's understandable because Rocky IV is the best one. We'll talk about it.
No, it's not.
We'll talk about it, so we know what Bill's picking.
It's understandable.
No,
It's
no,
understandable.
it's
I'm
not.
not going to pick another Rocky.
But Rocky IV is not better than the original Rocky.
It's not even better than 3.
Oh, come on, Mr. T.
That's-
now. 4 is. I like 4.
that's-
I really do like 4.
Come on.
4 is
Yeah.
good. It's not. It's
No, it's not better than 1. No,
it's-
I've never said it's better than the first one.
Oh, you just kind of did a whole sound effect thing.
I think
that
it-
made us think that you
I think it's
thought
the-
it was.
I think it's. I was kidding. I
It
was
had
kidding.
James Brown. I'll give you that.
Here's the
Now
thing.
you're just stating facts.
It's a great sequel.
Just
It had Dolph Lundgren.
You're correct.
Yeah, we know.
It did.
Here's the thing, like for me, like I agree, like Rocky is the best of them. But it's one of those situations where it's like, it's the fact of like the order that you saw them growing up. I mean, like we were all really little.
That's happened in other movies for me before.
Like,
Yeah.
like Rocky 4 was the first Rocky that I saw. Because I remember being a little kid going with my sister and her boyfriend to go see Rocky 4 in a movie theater.
Little Sergio. I
Yeah.
must break him.
Exactly. So to me, that movie was like.
He does. He does.
So to me, that,
Papa, I break him. Yes, little Sergio. Someday, Russia will all be yours.
but it's one of those like an order of experience where it was like to me that movie was amazing, and then like life had caught me up to like 1, 2, 3, and blah blah blah. And it's like when I got older, it was when I was like all those things that you learn like holy shit, like Sylvester Stallone wrote this movie.
Yeah.
Holy shit!
And I think
like,
that's part of it that makes it so
and
good.
Like he was a struggling actor, like
Yeah.
fucking pitching this idea, doing everything he could to try and get this movie made. So like, not only is it a great story of like a fighter, like you know, like working his ass off to become a great fighter, but then it's also about like in reality, like an actor who's like
his
Well, it's
own,
like
Rocky,
he had
his own Rocky story.
His own
to
Rocky.
get
Yeah.
Rocky made.
Because
To
like
get Rocky
they wanted to make
That's
it.
deep.
They wanted to make it
Without
with somebody
him.
else,
Yeah.
and he was
Yeah,
like, "No,
exactly.
like I wrote this. This is my story. I want to be tagged on this." And they weren't having it, so he waited and waited and waited, and then
the fact
it
that
happened.
like it wins an Oscar for best film in
Yeah.
1976 or
Yeah, that sounds right.
76.
That sounds right.
Maybe five or six. But the fact that it won best film Oscar, like it's amazing. Like that's just like that story alone makes that like I agree. That's a great
It makes
sports
audiences want
movie.
to stand up and cheer.
I think the reason why I like one so much too, and like why the rest of them kind of just seem like whatever. Did anyone notice like he's this punchy thumb breaker in the beginning? You know what I mean? He's this out of shape guy, and he kind of gets into it and starts training. But Rocky got smarter as the movies went on, and it doesn't make any sense.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
he somehow got brighter after getting punched in the head a handful of times, which is why I think the rest of them were just kind of like. You know, they seemed far fetched compared to the first one.
That's a
I
good
watched
one.
them all in a row.
He seemed more realistic. His character in the first one was just kind of like, dude, that could be anybody. You know what I mean? That had, you know, they got stuck in this situation, and then, you know, they decided they're going to go for it.
I watched them all in a row like 2 years ago, and I noticed that like in the first two movies he's playing Rocky Balboa. In the third and fourth, he's just playing Sylvester
Stallone,
Stallone.
right.
He's just acting like himself. He doesn't have like the tics and the mannerisms,
Right.
or the hat,
Yeah.
or
Yeah,
his
that's
bouncy
true.
ball and all that shit. You know, it's like, and then in 5 is like not great as it was. He went
That's
back.
That's Tommy Gunn?
Yeah,
Yeah.
So bad.
It wasn't great, but like he went back to acting like Rocky in that one, and then in 6
Yeah.
and onward he was
Well,
again.
yeah.
Maybe that's what it is, where it's like 3 and 4 that are just kind of like, dude, you just got shredded and you're not Rocky anymore. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, that's kind of what happened in 3 and 4.
Yeah.
Well, I do feel that like Balboa, which I think is number 6, Balboa and the first one, he plays truly like he plays that Rocky character very well in both. Kind of like you were saying, like he got smarter, but then he came back to just. But then also the fact that like it was that pure innocence, like he just wants to do good and be like a good fighter, and that's what it is about the first one and that 6th one, where it's like, all right, he lost his wife, he's just an old guy just wanting to fight one last time.
It's reliving the glory days,
Yeah,
man.
just reliving the glory days, and that's all he wants. And it's that scene in the 6th one where he's like in front of the committee, just trying to get allowed to fight. Like that scene, I'm just like, man, that's such a freaking good scene.
I always felt like that scene was like a parallel, in a way, to like him pitching the idea for the movie to the studio.
Oh, yeah,
Probably
that
was.
could,
Just
yeah,
like
probably was.
That's kind of
That's
how
a really good
that's
point.
how I took it when I saw it. You know what I mean?
Will you tell me I can't play the same character? Years later, people will come see it.
Exactly. There's a good chance that like that took place. You know what I mean?
That's verbatim how it went down
And then
originally.
Creed, and then for Creed, he was like, well, I mean, it won't be me, but people will come see it.
Actually, that one, they came to him.
Did they really?
Yeah, that's the only one that he didn't start with. You know.
That's amazing. I thought he had a hand in. Did he not have a hand in writing
did.
that? Or
He
no?
did once it got going.
Okay,
but
okay.
he wasn't like the one who came.
Well, because
up
I mean,
Initiated.
yeah, we've talked about it before
Yeah.
on the podcast. I mean, I think we universally agree. Like, we like Creed.
Yeah.
Definitely,
Oh, yeah.
Creed's
Oh, yeah.
awesome.
for sure.
Sorry, really quick. One other thing I thought was phenomenal because I love any story where like the hero is not the victor.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
what I
the
love
fact
about
that
Rocky.
he
Oh, yeah.
loses. Yeah, 100%.
It's like
Yeah.
everyone was so proud and happy for him, and yet he lost in
Yeah.
the first one. And they tie that back to the sixth one where he lost
He
in that one.
loses
It's
again.
not about
the
winning.
fact-
It's about
not-
going the distance.
It's about going the distance.
what it is.
Exactly.
Real quick before I move on, like I always just liked the character of Rocky. They've made that movie how many times in Hollywood? Like how many Rockies are there? I'm not talking about Rocky the franchise.
Right, just
Right,
that,
right,
that,
right.
char-
Of
that
story or
character.
Right,
character,
like
whatever.
that specific boxing movie, and like it's like they always forget to make the main character likable. He's always like some jerk off, you know.
Whereas, like, he was a sweet guy.
Yeah.
Like, even when he was like
They even
the
showed that he
collector,
was a hustler, yeah,
he didn't want to
No, he
hurt
didn't.
people. You know
Exactly,
what I mean?
yeah.
He fell in love. He loved animals. When his girlfriend was talked down to, he defended her. He wasn't like a pushover or
Yeah.
anything.
Yeah.
But you're right. He wasn't an asshole.
Yeah, he wasn't like
Right.
a scumbag or like had anger problems or whatever. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
I don't know. I always just thought he was.
I feel like you're talking about the fighter right now, JT, and I don't like it. Don't talk about the fighter like that. That's my movie.
I'm doing my Mark
Was it-
Wahlberg
I didn't see
impersonation.
it. Was that the one Eminem produced,
That one needs work, Bill.
or is that a different one? I don't even know.
I love his Wahlberg. I think it's
Really?
spot on. Yeah.
I'm not gonna do it again
Until you pick the fighter later.
until later when I pick the fighter. Tell you something for my movie.
Dear God.
Regardless
so
of what
yeah.
all these other guys think, I love the fighter.
I picked
Anyway,
I pick Rocky. So
all
yeah.
right. No,
Who's-
yeah.
who's,
Well, do you think we like it? Yeah, I think so.
I think
That's a
everybody
great.
does. It's a great
How could
movie.
you not?
I'll
Go ahead.
I'll go next. So yeah, so I was definitely torn because there's so many good sports movies out there. When you actually have to sit down and think about what the best sports movies are. I have a list that could fill an entire show myself.
But no one's going to listen to that.
No one will listen
So-
to that because I'm not going to talk to myself. So I'm just going to go with I guess my gut on this one and what I always come back to. We mentioned earlier movies that you always watch no matter what. When they're on, you stop what you're doing and watch them, or make it a point to watch it if you see that it's coming on TV or whatever. So for this one, I'm going with The Sandlot.
Very good.
Great
Nice.
pick.
Very good.
Nice.
Yeah, it's
If I
It's another
had
one
remembered The
that
Sandlot, I would have picked it.
Right.
So.
it's just a fantastic movie. It's just it's entertaining. It's fun, and it's definitely got a major baseball obviously tie into it. It's the whole movie's
Yeah.
about a baseball.
About baseball and about baseball in general.
About baseball.
About it being America's pastime.
What is-
Yeah,
What
but
is
it's
the
also
line?
it's a nice
Baseball
coming of
is
age
life.
movie, you know?
Baseball was life, absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's a great coming of age tale
Yeah.
in that baseball story.
Yeah.
For sure. It's
And,
awesome.
and I think it's got to be. Just in the last couple of years, I feel like it's gained as much popularity as it's ever had too,
Weirdly enough, yeah.
which is
Because for our
me,
generation, it's a big movie. When we were
It's
kids,
another
it
one of
was
those
awesome.
that, we talked about how when we did our sitcoms and TV show things, like how certain lines of dialogue, like Seinfeld with the yada yadas and stuff like that, sticks. Now you've got in pop culture and in day to day life, like "You're Killing Me, Smalls,"
Yeah.
Yeah.
has become a thing, since that film. And I can't think of anything I don't like about it.
Right.
It's just a purely enjoyable movie, and like every time it's on, I'm this grown man taken back to when I was a youth. that still like to play baseball.
Wendy fucking Peppercorn.
That was one of those movies that really got childhood right too. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like
Oh, yeah.
the kids swear at each other and do all kinds of stupid shit. Like
Yeah.
It was like
get
too
in
real
trouble,
for me.
It's,
It was just too real.
That's what I'm saying. It was like, if you guys didn't know, I listened to a Christmas podcast once that A Christmas Story is too real for me, and I thought it nailed childhood, but it nailed everything that sucked about childhood, like in a tangible way.
Whereas this is the
Sandlot was
opposite.
like that in reverse.
There we go. All right.
Nailed
Baseball,
childhood properly.
tree houses, yeah. Good times with friends.
Lifeguards.
Yeah, James Earl Jones just saying the word baseball. I could listen to that.
Baseball, like it's so like
We played baseball. Like I could listen to that all day. I
Right.
love him.
It was a period piece, but it didn't like drop reference after reference to like, hey, this is
Right.
now. This is
Yeah.
the 50s or 60s.
Right.
whatever it was.
even a much different Dennis Leary than we came to
Yeah,
know. Than we came
that's
to
right.
know
He's
later
the dad,
on.
the stepdad.
the
He's
stepdad.
Bill.
That's right.
Hey, he's
Bill,
Bill.
the stepdad.
He's Bill.
That's right.
Like it's crazy. Just for Christmas, I had bought my 8-year-old godson a Sandlot T-shirt because he loves it.
Oh, cool.
Absolutely loves it. So it's actually
Awesome.
it's going on now to like a new generation.
That's great.
And it was a really cool shirt too. It was like listed all of the different Babe Ruth nicknames that they spit out.
That's cool.
You know, it even lists the Colossus of Clout twice, like the twins
Oh, like
did.
Timmy and Tommy.
Yeah, like Timmy and Tommy.
The Colossus of Clout.
Colossus of Clout.
The last time I saw that movie was 2013 when I was on a baseball tour with my buddy Pat, and we were at
Was that Dodger Stadium?
we were at Dodger Stadium
awesome.
in LA, and like if you got a bleacher seat, like you sat on the outfield after the game and watched the movie on the jumbotron, and like they had Q&A with the stars and director.
That's
like
cool.
at home plate.
That's really
It
cool.
was
Like,
awesome.
and the Sox
It
just
was totally
did
cool.
it last year, where I think it was after a Sunday game, they presented the
Oh,
Sandlot.
did they really? That's fun.
Nice.
Yeah, and then that was the one time like when I started doing these trivia gigs and stuff. I originally started as the movie in the beer garden host at Bourbon,
Yeah.
and then that elevated to like 1 week was a movie in the beer garden, and then trivia about the movie the following week with this past summer, and The Sandlot was one of those movies, and I was incredibly disappointed that I had to do a different gig because I couldn't be there for that one.
Okay.
So, but yeah, it's fun. It's I'll watch it all day, like anytime it's on. It's not coming off my TV.
That's awesome.
Once it's been turned on. I'll tell you that.
When you guys made a point to bring up Dennis Leary, and in 1993 when he made Sandlot, did any of you guys ever see Judgment Night? Probably one of
Yes.
his most violent characters ever.
That's the
Same year. Same year. I was like, was that the same year? Yeah, same year, 1993. He did Judgment Night and Sandlot, and that's interesting. So
I'm
give it
not
up
gonna
for
lie,
Dennis
he
Leary.
doesn't look like the kind of dad that would just accept that his son took the. Like I always want to think, like when I'm watching that movie, I'm just waiting for Smalls to be like, "And Bill beat me senseless."
Right, because he doesn't.
But then he accepted the murderer's row ball, and everything was fine.
Right, but he didn't. You're right, though. That character, even like the way you played it, did
No,
not come off as
no.
like a casual.
didn't seem like he'd be okay
chill
at
guy.
all.
Right.
Right.
No. There
I
was
feel like he
definitely
would have.
somebody got.
If he would have smacked him if he didn't trade up, you know.
You're right.
Right. I was just saying,
There was
somebody probably got hit for that. Let's just be serious,
Oh, poor Smalls.
right?
And on
Well,
that,
then he went on to a great broadcasting career.
yeah, he did.
For
He
the
did.
Dodgers.
Two quick notes that I want to bring up. One, I love the fact that even today, like I'll be walking down the street in the city and I'll see somebody wearing the "You're Killing Me Smalls" T-shirt with
Ham.
ham, like just a giant close-up shot of them on their chest.
It's hilarious though because like those shirts that You're Killing Me Smalls, it's usually Ham like when in his play ball pose. Like
Yeah.
it's not even from that same scene
Right.
that he says the line.
Right.
And then
So-
the other thing is, for those listeners who know how I am very much into getting my 4K collection going. You can purchase Sandlot in 4K on Apple TV as we speak. And yeah, it looks phenomenal because I just watched it about a month and a half ago.
You're going to buy the same movies forever.
Sergio Squints Torres.
That's great.
He's like, that's great. Fuck you, Bill.
You're gonna buy it,
that's
and
great.
then you're gonna buy some more. Some more?
Some more what?
Some more. How can I have some more? But I haven't had any yet.
JT's joke was better.
Yeah, it was.
And on that note,
Yeah, right.
nice
Yeah,
pick,
it's a
Joe.
good pick.
No,
Thank you.
Very good pick.
very good. Serge?
Man, there's just so many to pick from. I figured I'll just pick the most ridiculous one because it's like one of those. No, I'm gonna go with this one. I gotta say, comedy is king for me. So when it comes to sports, and I don't really watch sports, I'm gonna go for a comedy. So Caddyshack.
Wow.
I just gotta say Caddyshack.
Good pull.
That movie, for being about golf, a sport that is not fun or entertaining to me. That movie, holy crap, does that make me laugh? And every time it's on, like, I will just stop and watch it because that's just like Bill Murray and Chevy Chase, both of them being in a movie at the same time, like those two in their prime. It's just a great movie to watch. So yeah, that's got to be my pick.
Rumor has it a lot of that movie's improvised too.
Yeah, I know. I've read
That makes it even better that it turned out so well and still so funny. It's great.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I love hearing all that, like, that lore about, like, Chevy Chase, Bill
They
Bill
hated
Murray
each other
hated
at the
each
time.
other.
Yeah, that's
and
true,
Chevy
actually.
Chase felt like he was being upstaged by Bill Murray, and Bill Murray wasn't even, like,
Because-
trying, like, to...
Because he
just,
was.
Because this Bill Murray doesn't have to try because he's Bill Murray.
Exactly.
Bill Murray's better than Chevy Chase. Oh, yeah. I like Chevy Chase just fine, but he's, vanilla. And Bill Murray is a rainbow cone.
Fair enough. That's a great way to put it. But yeah, that movie just, like, every single time cracks me up.
For those non-Chicago based listeners, Rainbow Cone implies that he's multiple flavors
Yes.
instead of just one.
Right.
All
You
right.
could have picked it up contextually, but I'm glad Bill's here to spell it out.
Just in case. Look, there was one person going, Rainbow Cone? What's he talking about?
What does that even mean? He can't be talking about multiple
I mean, a rainbow
flavors.
has multiple colors in the spectrum, and he probably means multiple flavors, but who am I to judge? All right, anyway.
All right.
I told you this one would be off the rails.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So, anything else to add on that one?
No, I really got nothing else to add. It's like, I just, like, when it goes, I think we all know, and like, I'm not one for sports in general, so when it comes to watching sports movies, I actually do like watching sports movies from the history perspective or like a fun comedy. One thing that I, like, a little side note, and I didn't realize this about my mom until very recently. I go to my parents' house every other Sunday, and I have lunch, and then we watch a movie, and whatever the movie is. And then I used to assume that mom would always want to watch some sort of romantic comedy. And then probably about 2-3 months ago, she goes, "You know what, Sergio? I really, really like watching sports movies." I'm like, "What are you talking about, Mom?" She's like, "Any movie about like sports, sports history,
can we
sports like
bend
that."
it like Beckham?
And, like, that was a weird little thing I found out about my mom. She's just like, "I like watching movies about like sports characters." I'm like,
the Hanson brothers fuck somebody else.
That's on my list.
That's
maybe
actually
it's
really
just,
fun.
That's a really funny thing where she like, I didn't know about my mom, but she just said she likes watching movies about.
You know
like,
what though? I
sports
think it's one of
figures.
those things where most sports movies start with like an underdog, and there's like this triumphant thing, and you know what I mean. Usually they're winning at the end, or something's learned, or a life lesson. But like, is there anyone who doesn't like sports movies? I don't think it's that you don't like them. I think if there's a good movie, there's a good movie.
No, he doesn't like sports. It's not necessarily the movies. I did think that if anybody was going to be opposed to this topic, it would have been you. But you actually were like immediately like, I love that idea.
Yeah, well, I mean, I love movies.
Right.
I love movies.
Well, it's a top comedy as well as being a top sports movie, so
Yeah.
well played. Very good.
Well done, Sergio.
Very good.
Does anybody else here like golf but me?
You do enjoy the
like
sport of
golf.
golf?
I enjoy.
You golf?
I can play it. Yeah.
I enjoy. I do. To a certain extent. I like driving around in a cart.
Drinking
Drinking.
and driving around in a cart.
What are you trying
You
to say?
actually hit and stuff.
Do you think I like the drinking part?
I'm not great.
So
I do. Here's the thing. I grew up, and you remember this. You guys have all.
Yeah,
been.
you grew up
I was right next to the golf course.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I grew up in a house that was right next to a golf course. And the wall was very hoppable. So on occasion we
go
would
sledding
hop
there.
the wall. We go sledding during the winter and during the summer. We had what was called, my dad coined the phrase a Sunday bag, which basically made your decision making for golf very easy. It was 3 clubs. You had a driver, a 5-iron, and a putter.
Oh, I love that.
So if you're in the rough, 5-iron. If you're in the sand, 5-iron.
Yeah.
Anywhere but the tee or the green, 5-iron.
Definitely.
Basically. So that's what you did. So I
mom's-
have 3 clubs.
For the listeners, my mom's
To this
side of
day,
family, the
that's it.
Folliards, they did, who were friends with your folks, they did a very similar thing. It was just the 5-iron and
Sure.
the putter. So
Yeah.
you just do the 2.
Right. So it's like, am I
Drive with the 5-iron.
There you go. There you go. That even simplifies it even more. So it's like, am I good at golf? Absolutely not. Do I enjoy it? Yeah, it's fun. On occasion, I do like it.
The most realistic golf scene in any movie was in Swingers. When he's like he like putts it.
Oh,
he's-
yeah,
like
yeah,
they did
yeah.
the shittiest chip. Yeah. They all go about an 8. Yeah,
I'll
eight.
take it.
It's like
Right.
anywhere between 6 and 10. You're just
Yeah,
like, well,
I
fuck
mean,
it, I had an 8.
I was years ago. I was actually like learning to play golf. My girlfriend at the time's dad was taking me out, and I was golfing, and it was great, and I was enjoying it. And then I got that job that involved me working all summer long,
Right,
more
yeah.
so than anything, and I just stopped playing. About a year and a half ago, my office that I was working at the time hosted a night golf event, and I got to go for the first time in a while, and I actually enjoyed it and did not shoot nearly as bad as I expected.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So we might have to have a Kick Rock outing, considering I won a round of golf at a benefit recently. So
Does
maybe
it include a cart?
it was a cart.
I'll drive.
Yeah, I'll drive. Me and Bill are doubles.
Tony, you are not driving a cart. I've seen it.
I haven't played an actual round in 10 years, but I still go to the.
That's why
I
this was
would
fun.
find, you know.
Sergio, bring the camera. We are filming.
I would
there
never
we
like.
go.
Here's the thing. Like, I've gone to the driving range. I've golfed only a handful of times. I had fun, but like, because of my height, I have to have extended clubs, and I'm not going to spend money on that.
Yeah,
So,
fair enough.
because I don't know if I'm going to like it enough to spend like $600 on clubs. So I was like, no. But I'll go use somebody else's club and hit the ball around and have fun. Like, I'm fine with that. We went to one of those Top Golfs,
Indian style.
and it was a blast. You're just driving the whole time,
Right.
but it was great.
Oh, yeah, no, so we would get carts a round of 18 for 4 and lunch at a country club.
Well, yeah. Why have you waited to tell us about
Because
that till now?
this just happened like
No.
a week and a half ago.
Fair enough. Well, we're doing it.
I just want to warn everybody. Us as a group have played Super Mario Brothers Wii. You know how
Competitive that gets.
well, you know how competitive we get, but
We've
also,
almost not been friends because
but you
of
also
this.
know how I will be the first one to just like start running forward and be like, ah!
Same thing with
Sergio's
golf.
also not
So when
driving.
it comes to
It
golf,
literally turns into polo. We're just
it's just
driving
gonna be
down,
me
whacking the
running
ball.
down the fairway. That's what it's called, right? Just whacking at the ball, going ah! Not caring about points. I'm just warning you guys. That's going to be the experience. that
Begin
happens.
quote. All right, everybody, be cool. End quote. Hyphen Tony Marino.
All right, everybody be cool. Who is that? Fucking Sergio. Oh, God.
How many
damn it.
strokes does Sergio have? About a few hundred. But he's enjoying himself.
The big number's good in this game, right?
No, I'd love to go, man. That'd be a blast.
All right,
This could be interesting.
Speaking of strokes, HAT.
that was the best Rodney Dangerfield sports movie.
I
Huh?
know,
Is Ladybugs? Is Ladybugs? Was it Ladybugs or Ladybug?
Ladybug.
Ladybug.
Plural.
All right, yeah.
That was the team name.
So
That was the girls'
is that your
soccer
pick?
team, right?
Is that your pick?
No. I am picking something just as dumb though. because I just looked at all of them and I'm like, there's so many good ones, and like it's not my favorite genre and stuff like that. So, fuck it, I'm picking basketball.
If anyone,
Again, that's out of the blue.
if
That's a great
anyone was
pick.
going to pick that, it was going to be you. I thought about this already.
Great pick.
It was directed by one of the Zuckers, the Naked Gun and
Yeah.
Airplane and all that stuff. So that's right up my alley right away.
Was it? I thought that was written, but it was written by the
Written
South
by
Park.
them. Yeah.
They
Parker
probably
Master.
all work together and stuff, but like, yeah, I mean, it's got their brandy humor is just slapped all over it too. But it's
Yeah.
like Zucker directed, and I'm sure he had a lot of ideas too. But oh my god, that movie's hilarious.
Oh yeah.
What's funny is I didn't watch it when it first came out. I waited like 2 years or something, and then like I watched it finally like in college, and I was like, oh my god, this is hilarious. why haven't I been watching this for the past 2 or 3 years?
I thought I didn't like it when I first watched it. I thought it was kind of dumb, and then when I watched it again, I was like, oh okay, and then again, and I was like, this is stupid. I like it. You know what I mean? It was just like one of those things where it's like,
it's not kind of dumb. It's dumb.
oh, it's
It
still
is.
dumb.
Oh yeah.
But
It
it's
is.
it's funny.
But I'm thinking like now, like it may be an unsung comedy too. It's not normally.
That
I
goes
don't
up-
think it's on like lists of like.
It's not
top
on
10
any list
It's
anywhere.
Very funny movie.
It's never made a list.
I wouldn't even call it a cult comedy or a cult favorite. It's just
No.
like
It's just there.
what's below a cult.
be a
you
cult.
know?
It's just there.
good.
Like
Yeah.
that's what I mean. It's never been on any list anywhere.
Which is weird to
ever.
me. That's weird to me because it's. I think it's hilarious. It's a very funny movie.
It's
If you guys call me a little bitch 7 or 8 more times, I swear I'm not gonna do that.
So many more times, well, out of here. What if it's a bitch or squeeb? Or
I'm
like,
gonna own a big sports bar.
Yeah, the South Park guys. I mean, they're geniuses.
Oh,
Pretty
yeah.
much. They're awesome.
Oh my god, when they're trying to save the kid's life, or whatever. every time
Let's do a
they
tequila.
every time they zap him, like
Oh, and
flies
that-
10
oh, yeah,
feet
yeah.
off
and
the
that's
bed.
where the naked gun comes in, where it's like, oh, that
But
makes
it's like
sense.
they cut away to like what is clearly a mannequin or whatever, like flying into the air. It's just stuff is always funnier when it looks shitty.
Oh yeah.
Like the bunny in Monty Python. It's,
Oh my
but
god, that's
yes.
so fucking good.
Like one part I die laughing at every time is like when what's his face, the guy who ran the team and he died. Who played that guy?
Oh, I know what you're talking about. I
That wasn't
forget.
like Brian
I can't
Kennedy
think
or
of it
something, was it? No,
No.
I'm getting that crossed with Tommy.
That's
Boy.
not Tommy.
No, but it's like
Good thing.
when what are the blonde one? I forget which one's Matt and which one's Trey. Sometimes isn't Matt
Sure.
Stone? Which one's Matt Stone?
Trey Parker's the blonde.
Trey Parker's the blonde. Okay, so he's sitting in. He played Coop, and he's sitting in the when they're reading the will, and it's like a video will, and like he's like, all right, everybody get out of the room or something like that. He's like, now Coop, and he's like, yes, Mr. Dunslow. He just like responds as if he can fucking hear him.
Stupid.
It's so dumb. And then Robert,
Ernest
Robert
Borgnine.
Ernest Borgnine.
Yeah.
That was it. Yeah.
Who's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was whatchamacallit, like
I love they got Oscar award winning Ernest Borgnine to play this.
he's been in some garbage.
So
though,
good.
too.
I know, but he's
been
so
in Mystery
great.
Science Theater movies I watched.
Ernest
But
Borgnine's a man.
whatchamacallit, Robert Stack.
Yes.
Robert Stack.
Yes.
When I don't know where he is. For all I care, he could be hanging by his neck in his fucking closet. Scenario 1. Hanging hanging by his neck in his fucking closet. It's just so awesome. That movie seems to know something that I know to be true. Is it's on my list of things that are always funny. Is when people swear on the news. It's just always funny.
There you go. That's good. Well done.
That's my dumbass pick.
No, basketball, yeah, for being a made-up sport, still a sports film.
Real
for
Big
sure.
Fish. They were in that movie.
Yeah.
I'm just looking at all the people that were in this movie. It's crazy. Like all the sports, like broadcasting figures and like legendary athletes and stuff like Bob Costas, Al Michaels, Reggie Jackson,
Yes.
Dan Patrick,
Yeah. I don't have your
Who
fucking
was
ball.
also in
Dale
Naked Gun,
Earnhardt, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
too.
What was it?
I said Reggie Jackson, who was also in Naked Gun too.
Oh yeah, no, the first one.
the first one.
yeah.
Right.
First
I
one.
must kill.
Robotic.
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was in Airplane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. I'm gonna take us back a little bit.
Oh.
There's a lot. See, we've been talking about this, and there's a lot of sports movies. When you think about it, you don't really think about it that much. But when you think like, oh, favorite sports films, a ton come to mind. It's just a big subject in a lot of films, I think, and a lot of pretty good ones and inspirational ones. So it's tough to choose. There's a huge build-up for this, but I got to go with one that I've enjoyed since I was a kid. I still enjoy it now. It's one of my favorites of all time. It's The Natural.
Yes.
There you go.
So baseball film, Robert Redford, among many others in it, but I think it's such a good sports movie. It's even been spoofed in many other sports movies or TV shows since then. Especially like Sandlot even spoofs it, busting the guts out of a baseball. The first time you see that is that's a direct homage to The Natural. When he hits the ball into the lights, when Roy Hobbs hits the ball, he hits it into the lights, and the lights
that
start.
music during that scene is
Da-da.
just, while he's running the bases, all the sparks are shooting
and the sparks
out,
are
just
falling like
falling
raindrops
down
on him.
everybody.
It's everything that's great about a baseball movie. It's also a good drama in and of itself. I love that film. It's just very entertaining. It is one of those, we talked about this earlier. We might do a separate podcast about movies that when they're on TV, even if you own them, you have to watch them. I won't mention this for that podcast because I think we're going to do that, but that's definitely on my list as one where, The Natural's on. I have to watch this for at least a little bit. I have to see what scene it's in, and I got to watch it.
Yeah. Right.
At least until it goes to commercial. I can't change the channel. That's one of those movies where I love it. I love everything about that. But I don't know anybody else about the Natural. If you guys, sure we've all seen it.
Grew up on it, man.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Used to watch that with my dad. Even wanted to cut my own Wonder Boy bat out of a tree. Like that was like one of the coolest things when I was
I
a
can
kid.
see you doing that
like,
because you
knowing
could
that-
probably just push the tree over and it would fall down.
It was like one of the coolest things. Lightning hits this tree,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? You carve a bat out of it. He growing up, he goes through hardship. If you guys haven't, has everyone seen this? It's a classic.
Oh, yeah.
If you haven't, it's fine.
if we're
I've seen that
spoiling
Simpsons episode.
if we're spoiling
Yeah,
The Natural, at
it's
this
almost
point,
identical. Yeah, if we're,
Yeah.
yeah. But
I've seen scenes from Natural. I've never seen the whole
and
thing.
it's
though.
funny
Okay.
because like when I watched it as a kid, I don't know if my parents told me to leave the room or shut my eyes, but it wasn't until I started watching it more and more, like as a teenager, I forgot he gets shot. I forgot
Yeah.
that's the whole first part of the movie is that he's this young buck up and comer and he's gonna change everything. And this crazy woman shoots him, and it sets him back.
I didn't see it coming.
Yeah, and I didn't see it coming. But like, I forgot that happened until I started watching it. So I don't know if I blocked it out as a kid or if it was just one of those things like, oh, Anthony, you can't watch this part. Go in the other room. But totally forgot about it until I got older. But yeah, fantastic. You mentioned it's referenced all the time, but like, just one of the coolest movies of all time. For sports and for baseball, and just that music, man, that final scene, like you can hear that now. If someone starts with that little twinkle at the beginning of the song, you know what it is. You're like, that's The Natural. They're referencing The Natural, or they're going to do an homage to The Natural. So yeah, it's good, man. It's one of my favorite baseball movies.
Awesome.
Definitely on my list for today.
Did you just take your next choice?
No, I've got some backups.
Are we doing? So we doing a quick hit?
Anybody
for
else got anything
round
for The
two?
Natural?
Unless anybody else talks about The Natural, no. Good.
Wonder Boy.
All right, let's Wonder Boy Savoy special. All right, let's
Hey,
let's do a quick.
homemade bat.
I think we got time for another quick round two, just honorable mentions, or like we said, this is a big category. There's a handful we could each
We
mention.
could probably go around 5
Several
or 10
times.
times each.
But for the sake of whatever, let's do a round two. Tony, go ahead. What's your honorable mention?
After this is on my list, but after to JT's point, he's like, how many Rocky movies are there in Hollywood? And it's like
A lot.
Goon. If you guys have seen the Sean William Scott,
that's
Henry
a great movie.
It's fantastic,
Great
and,
movie.
and it's Rocky again. You know
It
what I
is,
mean?
it is in a way.
It's
Yeah.
it's a very similar
And it's
setup.
very funny too. That
He's
movie's
the
great.
nice punchy guy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
It's Rocky meets Slapshot.
Slapshot, yeah.
Yeah,
And Slapshot was on my list too, but
Okay.
I decided to go with Goon. But I think my favorite Sean William Scott movie for sure, and Liev Schreiber also has a really good role in it. But like the characters in that, I think were done really well and were very fun and believable.
Leave Schreiber alone.
Oh no.
You know, I've never seen Goon because I just never was interested. I was like, oh god, like
Very good.
You know, I didn't want to.
Dude, as a hockey fan, you should watch it.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to.
It's
now.
about this guy who's
Yeah, when I first saw the trailer, I was like, Sean William Scott, it's not.
Right,
Yeah, I don't know.
exactly.
That's
that
how I
my-
was.
But
And then I
then
caught
I
it,
saw it, yeah.
and I was like, holy shit, this is a good movie.
See, this movie reminds me. Okay, when my sister first started seeing her boyfriend, who's now her husband, a couple of years back, whenever Goon came out, my brother, my other sister, and me would like just hound him about the movie Goon for no reason on Facebook. Like we would all just like that was like when everybody thought it was going to be something stupid, you know. So it was like we were just like, hey, did you check out Goon, you know? Or whenever he like commented our stuff, we'd be like, oh yeah, that's cool, but did you see Goon yet? You know what I mean? Like we were just never shut up about Goon for no reason. We would talk about it for weeks on end. And he was just like, all right, you could just shut up about Goon. Like, and then I saw it and I was like, oh wait, I was being a jackass about it, but holy shit, this is good.
Yeah, that movie rules, man.
Also, I was talking earlier about the whole Rocky thing, like being likable, totally is. You know,
Same thing.
Sean William Scott, he's usually the dick in movies, you know, and he like everybody knows him as Stifler.
Yeah.
and like
And
the
he's
millions of
so
Stifler roles he played.
Lovable in
Yeah.
this movie, and it's just
Yeah.
like you feel for him. And he's this nice guy. His family doesn't understand him. All he wants to do is play hockey.
Yeah,
Well, he's a bouncer. Then all he wants to do is play hockey because he
Right.
realized he could just be the enforcer. But
yeah, he's
you
like
know,
a dim-witted sweetheart. you
yeah,
know?
he falls in love, meets a girl. He just wants to be friends with his teammates. He just wants to help his team. Like, oh, dude, it's awesome. It's just a fun movie, man. It's just like this fun movie.
One of my
that you
favorite
thought was really
scenes-
trash.
One of my favorite scenes in any movie ever is when Liev Schreiber is smoking cigarettes, talking to him at the
At the diner?
restaurant.
Yeah.
At the diner. Yeah, at
It's
the diner.
awesome.
The night before they're about to both just beat the shit out of each
Yeah.
other and be each other's, like rivals at the game the next
Yeah.
day.
It's like that whole respect thing, and like essentially too, like almost like to Rocky. It's like, I can't remember for sure. I think they lost. He basically loses the fight. They beat the shit out of each other. You know what I mean? He stands up, on his ankle, but like I think he might lose the fight actually.
I forget.
Too. I'm looking at you like
I remember so many moments and I don't remember how it ended.
Watching
I'm in the same
Goon
boat with
again
you.
for
Same
sure.
boat. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to.
I'll
I'm gonna have
check
to
it out.
I've seen it once.
Definitely. I mean, it made your list and you don't even remember it. So I guess we need to watch it together.
No, it's just this one
One scene. I know. I get it. I'm just
Yeah, but,
I'm just being a dick.
It's just the most climactic scene of the movie. That's all.
Right.
Who won that Oscar? Who won? Who did you win for? All right. So Joe, what's your runner-up?
So I had a choice, and I decided that baseball movies with James Earl Jones has already been covered. So I'm going to skip that choice.
Which
you
would
know-
be what
Wait,
though?
what if that's someone else's choice?
Okay.
What if it's someone else's choice?
Which is why I wasn't going to give the name until our fearless host over here made me do it. Anyway, I'm going with The Wrestler.
All right.
It was a really, really good film. And
I like
as a
it a lot,
wrestling
yeah.
fan, I can attest to the fact that that story is very real to a lot of the old time guys. They blew through their money. They have a hard time leaving the business, so they keep trying to still be involved, whether it be still wrestling in their 60s and even 70s in some cases, or just hitting all the different autograph sessions and conventions and all that other stuff. But on top of that, of course, it was a great movie. Mickey Rourke was fantastic in that movie. So was Marissa Tomei, for that
I'll have to
matter.
check that. I've never actually seen
Never
that.
seen it?
I did see a
I think
documentary.
there was a lot of
in 2000
award nominations for
behind
it, I can
Beyond
tell
the
you that.
Mat. Beyond the Mat.
Oh, the Mick Foley documentary.
Yeah, I think it was not just about him, but about a lot of other people.
Yeah, it was a couple
or
other
something,
ones
Jake
too.
the Snake.
Jake
and stuff.
Snake was right. He was
Yeah,
in there
so
too. But yeah,
but I tell you, those guys have been through hell.
yeah, and then that's a real scenario that played out in that movie.
Yeah.
So it's it's a good movie. I don't know if anybody else has thoughts on it.
I have. I mean, it was. I love that movie. It's great performances in that movie, and it's all around. But Mickey Rourke. I mean, obviously, it's. I think at the time it was his big
Comeback.
It was his
pretty big
comeback.
comeback
It was
for him.
just-
Yeah,
yeah, it was.
Yeah, he was.
He plays Dog the Bounty Hunter in that, right?
He looks a lot like Doug. It was really funny. No, man, Randy the Ram.
Randy the Ram.
Yeah, with the Ram Jam. He's
They've nailed
he's-
like the '80s like like wrestling
yeah,
action figures
Yeah,
like, to a
he's
T.
he's great in that. He does. Oof. It's a rough one too. It's one of those you watch it and it'll juice you emotionally too. It's a
Yeah,
great
and,
film,
I mean-
but it's also by the end of it you're like it's a lot. It's a lot.
And both him and
It's
Marissa
very
Tomei
good.
were nominated for Best Actor,
Marissa
Best
Tomei
Actress.
absolutely kills
But
him.
like
man.
your point on the performances, they were nominated for
Yeah,
Academy
and,
Awards,
you know,
and he
whole-
actually won. Mickey Rourke won the Golden Globe.
Golden Globe for it, yes, yeah. I think he was nominated for the Oscar that year too. I forget who won that, but I know he didn't. But
No, he was him and Marissa Tomei was nominated as well. They
Yeah,
were both nominated.
Marissa Tomei, yeah, is also equally great in that. She plays the, she's a stripper in that one, right?
She's the love
Yeah.
interest, right?
The love
Yeah.
interest for him, but she's not really. They have a great camaraderie in that, great chemistry in that. They're both. They're both really good in that movie. It's a great film. It's fun. Given the backdrop that it's around, and it also kind of, like JT mentioned, Beyond the Mat too, where that kind of takes the curtain down from the wrestling industry.
Mm-hmm.
That's a movie too. I think The Wrestler also does that in a sense where you realize, for a lot of people, I think maybe for the first time, that these are real people,
Right.
putting on this performance. Putting on this form of entertainment for all of us.
Right. And all the
And they're not actually superhuman
well, and
in
how
real
real
life.
how
Yeah.
real some of that is, the
Right.
injuries and
Right.
the bumps and the bruises, and even for those guys that are working those smaller shows, the older guys, whatever.
Yeah.
There's no insurance. There's no there's no retirement
Yeah, it's
for the guys in that industry, and that's why they do it and they continue to do it. There's guys that wrestle into their 70s at this point.
which is
This is insane. Yeah, it's insane.
If I took a bump now, I'd break an ankle. So
Oh, it'd be done.
they're really tough. They're really tough people. All right, good. Yeah, good film. Anybody else on The Wrestler?
I liked it. I watched it once when it first came out. I thought it was really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all I
You
got.
hate wrestling, so you probably that was a turn off for you.
I don't hate a lot of things. I just have never been able to get into wrestling.
I never got into it. When I watched Beyond the Mat, that was the first time I had respect for it, though.
Okay.
That's when I got it.
I really-
I get it. I'm not into it, but I get it.
I really like the Netflix show Glow.
Glow.
That's fun.
It's a
Glow's
great show.
also great. Yeah.
It's a great show.
But the funny thing about that show is the fact that I remember that being on TV as a little kid,
In the
like
80s,
on
right.
Saturday morning. So,
Yep.
but yeah, Wrestler was good. But I only saw, like to what Tony said, I only saw it once in the
Okay.
theater when it came out.
Was
So-
he an alcoholic or an addict or as well?
Pills.
Pills? Okay, yeah, I remember
Which
something.
again that happens. These
Sure.
are, like years and years of abusing.
Pills
the
and
body.
drugs, using like cocaine and stuff like that
Right.
too. Yeah. It
Cocaine
was
is
mostly like
also
steroids,
a nose
painkillers,
pill.
and
Well,
drugs.
yeah, I mean, there's so many like that was all part of the, especially like in the era he was supposed to be a big star. That was a thing. Like
Sure.
all the partying, all the drugs, all the alcohol, the addictions. All these guys have died early.
they're
Like,
rock
so many of them
stars,
died early from heart issues, from years of.
Cocaine.
Yep.
yeah.
All right.
Cocaine.
Cocaine.
My cocaine.
My
All
cocaine.
cocaine.
You guys say
Waiting for
my
it.
cocaine.
My cocaine.
All cocaine.
It's my cocaine's my cocaine. My cocaine.
gosh.
My cocaine's cocaine.
What are you saying? Michael Caine. Michael Caine.
My cocaine.
Sergio,
Sergio,
what is your
what's your favorite
honorable
Michael Caine
mention?
movie?
I'm trying to think of Michael Caine things.
One of these podcasts is going to be favorite Michael Caine movie.
Cocaine.
There's a lot to choose.
Blow. Oh, wait, no. Oh, you meant the actor.
Yeah.
Got it. No, I got to be honest. Like, so I really, really I really enjoy based on true story movies.
Okay.
So when it comes to sports movies, I'm gonna mention two since you mentioned two. But so the runner up would be Concussion. If you could get a chance to
Okay.
watch Will Smith
Yeah.
in the movie Concussion, I think that's a great movie about NFL and
CTE.
yeah, CTE and the whole like discovery of that disease and the result of like impact of like football players constantly banging their heads with the of years of playing football. It's a great movie to watch because like that's like a story line that I didn't really know until I saw the movie. But another based on a true story sports movie that I love was freaking I, Tonya. Like that movie was like,
Dude, it's
it
good.
wasn't just like, it was fun, it was funny, it was
fucked up.
informative, it was fucked up, and it was just like a great storyline that I remember from like being in like high school during the 90s. I remember seeing all that stuff on TV, like just like the media, just like totally gravitating about like, oh, like Tanya Harding and whatever her name is getting hit in the Nancy.
Nancy Kerrigan.
See, that's the problem right there.
Yeah, getting hit in the leg and like all this stuff. It's like I just remember that stuff like in the
Yeah.
back of my head from like being a little kid, and then this movie comes out, and I'm like, holy shit, this is a great little behind the scenes of what, like, obviously, like, movies that are based on true stories are, you know, they take liberties to make it more entertaining. But, like, I really enjoyed that movie because it was just, like, a fun, funny, playful take on what had happened during that time. And it gave you a little bit of insight that, like, whether or not it's true or not, I don't know. But, like, yeah, it gave you a perspective of, like, wow, maybe she really didn't know what happened,
It
or
was
maybe
like
she did.
just
and they're
biased
like,
enough where it was
yeah,
like,
yeah,
okay.
exactly. So, if you haven't seen I, Tonya, definitely give that movie a watch too, because it's like a ridiculous situation that's just happened to be part of mainstream America, and the way the media can really turn things into just like
It was
ridiculous
blown the
stories.
fuck apart.
Yeah.
Like, why to this day do I still know the names Oksana Bayul, Tanya Harding, and Nancy Kerrigan?
Yeah.
Why do I know those three names?
Yeah, exactly.
I, Tanya, you, Nancy, this crowbar.
I want to throw.
Pretty
the
sure
mic
she
at your
knew
head.
is what I'm saying. Pretty sure she knew, but all right, yeah.
Yeah.
But good movie, absolutely good.
Yeah,
movie.
the
It was fun.
Margot Robbie, like, oh my god,
How
was
pissed-
she so fun in
She's
that movie? She played that
absolutely
role
great.
so
But how pissed off is how pissed off is Nancy Kerrigan that movie got made? Like, come on.
Well, and that's the other
Probably.
thing is like growing up, knowing what happened in that time, where it's like you just had so much, you felt so bad for Nancy Kerrigan,
Right.
and Tanya Harding was this awful,
And-
horrible
and she's
person.
like, oh, great.
And then,
She's
like,
pure evil.
Yeah.
You're making a movie about
And
that,
then,
and now
yeah.
you're gonna nominate for an Oscar?
yeah,
Cool.
exactly.
I still want silver.
exactly, exactly.
It's like could have got gold anyway.
Yeah. So that would be the next movie I would have to say is like a good like little sports movie
Look,
to watch.
That was years ago. I'm still pro Nancy. Is all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
Fair enough. Hey, I get it.
Nancy Kerrigan,
If you're listening,
I love you. I know you're listening, and I love you. JD.
I think Clint Eastwood killed it in $1 Million Baby.
you mean killed?
Wow.
Yeah, there it is.
Wow. Woo. Ooh.
That's all we're gonna say about that movie. It was a good one. But I don't know.
Is that now your
what am I
pick?
picking? Can I pick the Simpsons episode?
Sure.
Softball one.
Do it.
All right. It's not a movie.
The sun.
Daryl and the straw.
Talking soft.
If I don't pick that, I'm gonna pick Dodgeball. So fuck it.
All right, fair enough. Dodgeball would be a fair pick as well.
I'll pick Dodgeball. All
right, pick
that's,
Dodgeball.
That's actually a movie. That movie's funny. I saw it several times. I thought it was funny.
It's a bold strategy, JT.
It kind of kicked off a series of movies that just like tried to make like a goofy movie out of a sport that nobody cared about,
Like
the,
recreational sports.
the
Yeah.
the ping pong one with the Christopher Walken nobody
Yeah.
watched, and like
I watched that twice. That shit's hilarious.
I
Balls
believe-
of Fury is hilarious.
Balls of Fury you're referring to?
yeah, I never
If you're
saw
talking
it. I
about
never
Balls
saw
of
it.
Fury, it's hilarious.
Yeah, I'll take your word for it. I never saw it.
No, you'll
Dodgeball.
watch it.
Dodgeball's funny though.
Ping pong.
The funniest part of that whole movie to me still is when what's his name with the ping pong?
That's how he says in the movie.
No, he does. Ping pong.
God damn it. Dodgeball.
When the dodgeball coach, just like they're just rolling through the casino and just like that giant Luck of the
Oh my
Irish sign
God.
just destroys him. It just out of nowhere just falls on him and kills him.
Yeah.
And like you just did not see it coming. They didn't set it up. It was just like bam, he's dead. And then like 1
Just
second
got
later,
crushed by like 2 tons of iron.
yeah. He's like, we got to say something to the troops. And he's like, what's his name? Vince Vaughn is
Vaughn.
like, yeah, I don't think they make a Hallmark makes a card for. I'm sorry, your dodgeball coach just got crushed by 2 tons of iron. That and Ben Stiller's funny in it. It's just
The
it's over
cameos, the
top.
cameos are good in that too. Like you've got who's the guy who was drug enhancing, who lost the testicle, the bicyclist. Lance Armstrong's in it.
Chuck Norris.
Chuck Norris is fantastic as a guest
Jason
judge.
Bateman.
Jason Bateman
Yeah.
doing
Jason
the
Bateman is
commentary,
great. Dude, one of my favorite parts in that, and I don't know why, for no reason. After
He will not be able to
Patches,
see very well.
after their coach Patches is dead, he like thinks back to him, and
That's
he's
right,
like,
Patches O'Houlihan.
yeah, Patches O'Houlihan. He's in his head,
Yeah.
and he's like, what would Patch say? So he gives him like this little pep talk, and then
Yeah.
his face is just still there after he's done talking. He's like,
Bye-bye.
bye. It's just like for no reason. Like every time I watch that, it gets me.
I know, it's-
bye. Like
Fade- fades out. It
It's
just
so
fades out.
stupid.
You can do it. There's a part I was laughing at, like all the different kinds of dodgeball like teams they had and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
And it was like one of them was called Skills That Kill, and it was like Skills with a Z.
Oh, yeah.
It was just a bunch of like hip hop
boys,
dudes. You know,
yeah,
they're
right.
they're just like dancing around to hip hop. They're not even playing a fucking game. Like they're just like, how'd they get that far? You know what I mean? How did they get that far? Because they're just like dancing in slow motion, and like every time they get hit with a dodgeball, they're like flying back like all prima donna, like they just got shot in Boys in the Hood or something. Like so fucking funny.
Someone I never looked at. Someone said before that what's his character's name? Ben Stiller, White Goodman, was either a spinoff or the same character from Heavyweights, the like camp counselor.
Oh,
really?
I'm looking this up right now. I thought his name was Tony in the.
you
Sorry.
can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball.
And that was the old school Patch. Was what's his name? Mo from Simpsons. I can't think of his name. You know what I'm talking about?
Hank Azaria.
Hank Azaria. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of which, he's got that show, the one where he's a baseball announcer.
Oh yeah,
I've seen the first few episodes of that. That's funny.
Brockmeyer,
That's that's a good show.
That's a great show.
I gotta watch more of that.
Jim Brockmeyer. All right, let's wrap.
I was wrong.
You're wrong.
Shut up.
Okay. Let's continue. Bill.
Oh, when somebody else is wrong, we won't call out. I get it. I see how it is. All right.
Ping pong.
Ping pong. Fang. You lost again. Anyway, I don't even know if that line's in the movie anymore. So
Because they took it out anymore.
all of my, I realized,
They removed it.
yeah. Most of my favorite picks are going to be for baseball. I love baseball. Baseball. So honorable mentions. Because I'm going last, I have the advantage of I'm gonna list a couple that I'm not gonna talk in depth about, but that's definitely one. There's 2 Costner ones actually, Kevin Costner films that I gotta talk about. One of them is Field of Dreams.
The other one is.
Again, just because baseball. Actually, there's 3.
All right.
There's 3. I just thought of another one, but
Bill
what was
gets
the
like
second one? Go ahead,
Bill
Tony.
gets 5
Bull
on this
Durham.
list.
Bull Durham, of course.
I would say Bull Durham was
So
obviously
Field
one
of
them.
Dreams and Bull Durham, yes, and then I just remembering For Love of the Game. I think is another great baseball movie with Kevin Costner. All 3 of them.
I forgot about
I think
that.
Costner
Yeah,
likes
one
baseball.
too.
I love that
Yeah,
movie.
it wasn't on any
Disappointed
list
that you went
anymore.
with Costner and not Major League.
That was my pick. That's what I'm going at. Damn it!
Not done yet.
thought those were his-
Those were
Buried the lead.
Honorable mentions.
All right.
worth mentioning.
So,
Well, now I have respect.
well,
for you.
first of all, Field of Dreams. I always cry though when at the end. I always cry
catch
at the
with
end.
his dad.
Yeah, I always
Yeah.
cry. Dad, you want to have a catch? If you're not crying, you have no soul when that happens. Anyway, those are all great movies, and I wanted to pick one of them, but I cannot not pick Up Your Butt, Joe Boo. Major League.
Boo.
Major League for sure.
I stole Bill's fanfare.
It's equally, I think, a great baseball movie and a great comedy at the same time.
Oh yeah.
I love it. There's so many quotable lines, so many quotable
My favorite line in the
scenes,
whole thing
memorable
is
scenes.
Charlie Sheen going, "You want me to take him out back?" kick the shit out of him.
Exactly. I love it. Hey, bartender, Joe Boo needs a refill. I love it. Major League. I can't deny that one. It's so great. One of my favorite parts of that movie is the announcer, Bob Uecker.
Yeah, I
is
was just going to say
phenomenal.
that, actually. I was just
Phenomenal in that
you
movie.
can't say that on the oh, Christ, no one's listening.
Yeah. I feel like he's doing, like, that's our podcast, right? Like, we're all, it's like, it doesn't matter. No one's listening.
No one's listening.
That's Bob Uecker, so he would fit in very well in this group. But yeah, Major League. That's my
Well
pick.
done
Anybody
on
else
that
on
one.
Major League?
Fun movie, man.
Love it.
Still love it now.
Well, let's watch it. Let's watch the movie right now. And
Just so you know,
But
I
Joe
do
Boo.
have it.
Available on 4K?
I do
On
have
4K?
it on my Apple TV,
Is it on
not
4K?
in 4K.
Then we won't watch
But
it.
it is.
I
in
think we should
HD.
do a podcast about movies Sergio has in 4K.
maybe next time on
listen,
Two Drink
right.
Minimum. Until then, I think that's going to wrap it up for the night, gentlemen. Let's cheers one more time. And
Cheers.
Mr. Marino, take us out.
This has been Kick Rock's podcast, 2 Drink Minimum, coming at you talking about movies of sports of all sorts. Wait.
Dick Vitale.
I was trying to find something. This is over.
All right, well, that's going to wrap it up for this episode of Two Drink Minimum. Thank you so much for tuning in. Did you agree with some of our sports movie choices? Did you disagree with some of them? Are there some out there that you wish we mentioned and we simply did not have the time to? Well, you know where you can tell us, right? You can go right directly on our Facebook page and comment on that. You can email us at podcast@kickerrock.com. That's podcast@kickerrock.com. Remember to like and subscribe to our iTunes page and download this podcast. We really do appreciate all of you guys constantly listening to us babble on week after week. Thank you again. This has been Two Drink Minimum. We've been drinking, thinking, and talking shop. Cheers, everybody.